In February of 2022, a family in Huddleston, Virginia posted a photo of two baby boys on Instagram. The boys were named Jax and Jet, and they were born 9 days apart to two different mothers. On paper, the boys were cousins. Their birth certificates said so, but birth certificates only tell part of the story. Jax's mother was named Brianna. Jet's mother was Brianna's identical twin sister, Brittany. Jax's father was named Jeremy, and Jet's father was Jeremy's identical twin brother, Josh. Identical twins share the exact same set of DNA, copied from one original cell that split into two before birth. So when one pair of identical twins has children with another pair of identical twins, something strange happens to the family tree. The children are still legally cousins, but their DNA doesn't look like cousin DNA. It looks like the DNA of full brothers. There's a name for this. It's called quaternary twin, I think is how you say it. The word quaternary just means made of 4 parts because it takes 4 people, 2 mothers and 2 fathers, and all 4 of them have to be identical twins themselves for it to happen. Here's why the DNA math works out that way. A normal set of full siblings born to 2 regular parents share about half of their DNA with each other. A first cousin usually shares much less, somewhere around 1/8. That's because a cousin only connects you to 1 grandparent, not 2 full parents. But when both mothers are identical twins and both fathers are also identical twins, the children aren't really connecting through separate family lines at all. Genetically, it's the same as if they had the exact same mom and the exact same dad. The legal framework says cousin, the DNA test says brother. This creates a real problem for something people usually trust without question: the DNA test. Standard paternity and sibling tests work by comparing genetic markers between 2 people. The more markers that match, the closer the family relationship. But a quaternary twins DNA test doesn't come back looking like a cousin's. It comes back looking like a sibling, sometimes close enough that a lab technician reading the results with no other information would guess the 2 children came from the same 2 parents. The Sailors and Dean family isn't the only one that this has happened to. In Washington state, 2 more sets of identical twins found each other. Vanessa and Carissa, twin sisters, met twin brothers named Lucas and Jacob. The couples eventually had children of their own, a girl named Sophie and a boy named Adrian, born to separate mothers and separate fathers, who are once again genetically full siblings rather than cousins. The children call each other cousins in conversation. Their bodies would tell a different story, though. Doctors who study twins say quaternary twins are rare enough that almost no formal research exists on them. Most of what's known comes from families who noticed the pattern themselves and had it confirmed afterward, not from a large scientific study designed to track it. It sits in an unusual spot in genetics, a phenomenon that's completely explainable using basic inheritance rules, but one that almost never gets studied directly, because the exact combination of circumstances required to produce it barely ever happens. Identical twins themselves are not common to begin with. They happen at a steady rate worldwide, about 3 to 4 births out of every 1,000. That means the chance of any one person being born an identical twin is roughly 1 in 250. For quaternary twins to happen, 2 separate sets of identical twins have to find each other, fall in love, get married, and then both have children within 9 months of each other. Each one of those steps narrows the odds even further. It is not a condition a doctor can plan for or a family can expect. It happens by total coincidence, layered on top of coincidence, layered on top of a genetic rule that was already there to begin with. Scientists who study genetics don't classify quaternary twins the same way they classify real twins, like identical or fraternal. Real twins share a birth. Quaternary twins share a genetic blueprint, but not a due date, not a womb, and sometimes not even a birth year. What they share is closer to a mathematical accident than a biological category, which is part of why so little formal research exists on it. It isn't really a type of twin. It's a coincidence that happens to produce the same genetic result as one. This isn't just a quirk that shows up in family trees, though. It's already reached a courtroom. Earlier this year, in a case called REJ-M&P, the UK Court of Appeal ruled on a paternity dispute involving a woman who had been with 2 identical twin brothers within 4 days of each other around the time that she conceived. A standard DNA test came back and said correctly that one of the 2 brothers was the father. It just couldn't say which one. The judge overseeing the case, Sir Andrew McFarlane, put it plainly. He said the child's father was one or the other of the twins, but that it wasn't possible to say which. Because neither brother could be proven to be the biological father, the court ruled that neither one could be granted legal parental rights, not even the twin whose name was already on the birth certificate. Scientists say there are more advanced tests, one that sequence a person's entire genome instead of just a handful of standard markers, that could theoretically catch a tiny genetic difference between identical twins. But those tests are expensive and complicated, and courts don't use them as a matter of routine. So for now, the case remains open. The child has two possible fathers, and both of them share the exact same genetic fingerprint. Cases like this show that the quaternary twin situation with Jax, Jet, Sophie, and Adrian isn't an isolated party trick of genetics. It's one example of a much larger problem hiding inside a tool people treat as infallible. A DNA test only works because it assumes every person's genetic code is one of a kind. Identical twins break that assumption completely, and every child, grandchild, or legal case built on top of an identical twin's DNA inherits the same blind spot. Jax and Jet are still growing up a few miles apart in Virginia, in the same house run by their two sets of parents as one household. They call each other cousins when strangers ask, because that's the word most people understand. Their birth certificates still say cousin too, but if either boy ever took a DNA test without telling anyone why, the results would come back reading brother, and there would be nothing unusual about that reading at all. It would be simply correct. There's one more layer to this that most people miss. Even though identical twins start life with matching DNA, that DNA doesn't stay perfectly matched forever. As people age, small copying errors build up in their cells over time, a process scientists call somatic mutation. Studies comparing older identical twins to younger ones have found real, measurable differences building up in their genetic material the longer they live. That means by the time adult identical twins have children of their own, the DNA each parent passes down isn't quite as perfectly matched as it was on the day they were conceived. That's a part of why it's inaccurate when people online describe children like Jax and Jet as twins themselves. They're not. Their parents are the twins. Jax and Jet are related the way full siblings are related, born to two different mothers in two different pregnancies, each one shaped by its own random mix of genes at conception. Calling the kids twins skips over the biology entirely. The twin part of the story belongs to their parents. What the children share is something closer and something older than any label the internet has come up with for it.